Welcome. In this video, we are going to dive into how you can analyze an invoice from an image using Azure Document Intelligence Service, which is part of Azure AI Foundry Toolkit that's transforming document automation. Now, what exactly we are going to do here is, in a first step, we are going to create a document intelligence service in Azure, which gives us the foundational AI model needed to process and extract the data from the structured document like invoices. In the second part, we are going to create a .NET Core API application, which is going to communicate with a Azure Document Intelligence Service. In here, through the .NET Core API, we are going to send an image of an invoice for the analysis, and the Document Intelligence Service will give us uh, the data in the readable format, which we are going to further expose to the end user. And in the last part, we are going to test our API to see what exactly the document intelligence service has given us. So the first thing is that we first need to go and create the service in Azure. So you can log into your Azure portal. Uh, Once you do that, you can go to the Azure AI Foundry. In here, if you expand the more services section, you will find a document intelligence service. Once you click over here, you will see all these options. Now, in the interest of time, I have already created a service, a document intelligence service here. As you can see, it's already there, but you can go ahead and you can create your own by clicking on the create button here. So once you click on the create button here, it will take you through a series of steps. Once you complete that, your AI service would be deployed by the Azure itself. I'm not going through all these steps as I've already done for myself, but this is pretty straightforward. You can just provide the necessary values here in these input box, and then get your document intelligence service created. So let me go back and show you the service which I have created, as there are two important things which is required here. So if you can see, this is the service which I have created, and in here you can see the endpoint. So this is the endpoint through which we are going to communicate to this service. This would be required in our .NET Core API. Also, we would require the keys. So if you click on the manage keys section here, it would provide you with the two keys. As you can see, key 1 and key 2. You can use any of it. So the keys and the endpoint are required if we want to connect to the document intelligence service which we have created in Azure. This is all about the Azure portal. Now let's go and see what we have done in the API. So this is a Visual Studio tool. For .NET Core, I have used this tool to create the API, and as you can see, I have created one RESTful service here. Uh, this is a post method. I have named it as analyze invoice, and you can see it is accepting a parameter of a file type. So this validation is pretty straightforward. If there is no file, we just return the user with a message no file uploaded. And then if you see here, we are first creating the credentials so that we can communicate with the document intelligence service which is residing in Azure. You need to provide a key, the key which we got from the service. Then you can go ahead and create your client. For client, you would require the credential, which is essentially your key, and the endpoint. So we saw in the Azure portal what was the endpoint and what is the key. Through key, we have got the credentials. Once this is done, we open a readable stream for uploading the file. So this is our file, and we are just creating a stream of it. Once you are done with this, we are going to call the Azure document analysis API to analyze the invoice. As you can see, we have used a pre-built invoice model. So this is a already trained model which is provided by the Azure itself. Then once this this section executes, this API executes, you will get the result. Again, this is pretty standard check. If the result is null, then we are just going to respond to the end user saying that invoice analysis failed, uh, or return no result, whatever message can be yours, your custom message. Now what we are doing here is we are to hold the fields which are being provided by the Azure document service, that we need to put it into some object. Here I have chosen the dictionary object. Now what I'm doing here is I'm iterating through the fields which I have got from the Azure document service, and I am putting those fields into my dictionary object. Once this is done, I'm just creating the message for the end user. Uh, this is done through this OK method. Here I have just mentioned that okay, my operation is successful, and I've taken another object called summary, wherein whatever content which I've got, uh, I have put that into the summary part. And if anything fails in between this process, we are just catching the exception uh, and returning 500 that something has gone wrong. So now let's go ahead and test this API out. So for this I'm using a Postman. Maybe you can use any other tool of your choice, but for me I feel this is quite comprehensive and pretty easy to use. So my choice of tool is Postman. So in here you just click on one of the tabs, and then you create the request. So this is the URL for my API, and since we saw that our method is a post method, so we have chosen a post HTTP verb here. Then just go to the body part, and then click on to the form data. Once we do that, we just have to mention our parameter. So you remember the parameter which we had in our application, in our .NET Core application, was image file. We mentioned that. Remember this key and the parameter here should match. This is an important part, otherwise your API would not work. And then we are just providing uh, uh, the the invoice image. It's a JPEG file. I'll show you what this JPEG file looks like. So you see here, this is the image file which I'm going to upload. So you can see invoice number, you can see date here, you can see to whom this invoice is going to, the name of the person, the address is there, list of items are there, then we have subtotal, sales tax and invoice total over here. So let's upload this file and see what the Azure API, how the Azure API analyzes it and gives it back to us. So let's go ahead. So this is a response from my previous request, but I'll do that again to show you. So once we click on the send, our API is already running, and let's see what we get here in response. So as you can see, we have got the response. It is 200 OK, and it says that invoice analyzed successfully. So again, you see, we have got a custom address as a property, and in here it has given us the result. So if you go and match this text, let's see where it is. So as you can see, this is the address which it has picked out, and it has created a property custom address where it has placed it again against this property. Then the name of the recipient, as you can see, the name of the recipient in the image is Jane Doe. It picks out the name of the recipient here. Then the customer name, we have already seen the invoice date, which is it picks up correctly. Then we have got the invoice ID. If we go ahead and check for the invoice ID, as you can see, it's the same invoice ID what is there in the image. Similarly, we have got other fields. So yeah, this is how we can make use of document intelligence service provided by the Azure for analyzing an invoice which is in the form of an image. Thank you.